So click on the classic email templates. Whenever we click on the classic email template, we will be able to see this UI saying that if you do want to create a new template, click on the new template, or if you do want to save it in a folder, select the folder which you want to or you can also create a new folder to save your email. For right now I'm giving my folder as unified public classic email folder, so that everyone will be able to access my email template. Click on, if you want to create a new email template, click on new template. So what is the type of the template that you want to create? We have four different types of email templates in classic email templates, that is with respect to the text, and the other one with respect to the HTML. If you do want to create an HTML template, you need to first create a classic letter header, then only you can be able to create your HTML. And the third one is with respect to the custom. If you do want to add any of your custom CSS styles, like if you do want to add a header, or create an italics, or if you do want to give a bold letters, you can use your HTML elements to define your email template by choosing this custom. And we can also define our visual force pages as a email template, so that we can send our visual force page as a email message to a specific user. For now I'm taking the text as my email template type, and click on next. Okay, so this is my uh, email template. So in the email template we are having certain options like available for use. If you do click this enable this option, then only your email template will be available for the other users to actually send it. If you don't enable this option called as available for use, it will not be available for any user to send the email. And choose your email template name, customer record created. So this is my email template name, and the template unique name will be automatically pop up with respect to your email template name. And specify your subject, specify the subject of your email. So I want to specify the subject is new customer record is created with the details you gave. Okay, this is the email subject that I want to send. And what is the email body? Email body is a consists of a text, text where you can specify why you are sending the email, and what is the purpose for sending the your email. So body is similar to like a normal email which we are writing. Hi sir, thank you for joining in our organization. Your name and other details have been successfully successfully saved in our organization. And if you do want to give any record statements or thank you, you can give it over here. Thank you sales team. So this is the text format of creating an email template. In the email template, what are the required fields? The required field is a subject. You need to specify the subject of your email, and you need to specify what are the email template name, template unique name, and in which folder you want to save. and we need to choose with respect to the certain options like available for use. Only then this email template is available for you to send an email message for a particular email id. So this is with respect to the body of our email. The body of the email comprises of saying that thank you for joining in our organization, your name and details have been saved successfully in our organization. And if you do want to specify any end messages like thank you or records, you can specify over here, or whatever the custom message that you want to send as a bot in the body of your email, you can specify in the email body and click on save. Once you click on the save, automatically a preview will be available for you. So if you go down, this is your plain text preview. So this is how we can if you send this email template, this is how a user is going to receive an email in his email, saying that this is the format in which he is going to receive the email. And since we have created the email, and if you do want to add an attachment with respect to the uh, PDF files or anything, you can add it over the attachment. It is similar to like adding the attachment in a task, or for adding an attachment in the events also. Similarly, if you do want to add any attachment for your email, you can add your attachments over here. And this is how you create a text email template in your organization. And let's go and create one more email template with respect to the custom. And go to the classic email templates again. The navigation is simple, guys. Just go to the setup. In the administration, we have email, and in the email, click on the classic email templates. And I want to create a new classic email template. So click on new template. And this time I do want to go with the custom. So click on the custom and click on next. And as the options are similar with respect to this, like the previous one, available for use, and choose your custom email template name. I want to choose my email template name as custom email template. So click on this and define your subject of your email, and I'm taking a random name and click on next. And it will again give you an HTML body. Actually, this is a HTML body. Previously, in your text format, if you define any HTML elements, the elements will be resembled as a text. But if you define your HTML tags in your HTML body, those will be automatically converted as for the HTML. Suppose if I do want to give the dear customer name in a header format, dear customer, automatically the CSS styling will be applied on this header part. And if I do want to create any paragraph in my organization, I can go with the HTML tags like p within the within the brackets, and define your paragraph. This is created with the HT with the HTML tags to send for the customer whenever a record is created, and close your paragraph. And if you do want to give any italic stylings over here, you can specify I as your italic styling. Regards, and this is with respect to the HTML tags. If you do want to specify any HTML tags, you can specify your HTML tags. You can if you Google it, you can find more number of the HTML tags that you can use for a text formatted. And click on save, click on next. And if you do want to specify any text body, additional text body, you can specify it over here, or if you don't want, you can just click on save. Once you click on the save, and if you take a preview of how your HTML body has been generated, this is here, and this is with respect to the using the header, and this is with respect to the paragraph, and this is with respect to the italics. Since we have defined italics for our records, so all the records and the Phanindra is coming in a italic format, whereas the dear customer is in a header format, where you can see the size of the dear customer is comparatively more with respect to the normal paragraph. So you have created your email template by using the HTML, and we have one more kind of a email template called as HTML. Since we have created our custom, right? Since we have created our custom email template, we have one more template called as HTML template. So in order to create a HTML template, you have to first define your letterhead. You have to first define the pattern of the letterhead that you want to specify. So under this classic email templates, we are having an option called as classic letterheads. Click on the classic letterheads, and here if you do want to create a new letterhead, you can create a new letterhead. Click on the new letterhead button and choose the option as available for use, and specify the name of your letterhead, HTML letter header, and letterhead, and the letterhead unique name will be automatically popped up. If you do want to give any description with respect to this, you can give it and click on save. Once if you click on the save, automatically you will be redirected to the further page, and this is your uh, letterhead template. So this is how you can define your letterhead actually template over here. And if you do want to define any background color, just click on the edit background color and choose your background color over here, and click on this option, and I want to go it in a green color, so click on the green and say on OK. This is how the color of the background changes, and the green is very dark and I want to go for blue. Click on OK. Since we have defined our background color as blue, so the email letterhead is in a blue color. And if you do want to add any logo, you can add your logo by selecting logo. And if you do want to edit any of the header properties, like where this logo wants to be, you can select over here. And for now, let's add an logo so that you can understand how this actually the properties are working. Similarly, whenever when we created an application called as loan management application, we have saved the loan management logo in the static resources, right? So the, right now the logo is available in the static resources, so click on the logo. Once if you select the logo will be automatically loaded into our letter header, and define the properties where you want to see this logo. And since I want to make this at a center middle, so in the horizontal element, in a horizontal way where you want to define, and in a vertical way where you want to define, you can select over the options which are over here and click on OK. If you do click on OK, automatically the logo is aligned into the in the center of the page. And if you do want to add any color with respect to the background color, you can add any color and click on OK. So this is how we can edit the properties. And we have one more property called as edit top line. So top line is nothing but a partition between the logo and the body of the letterhead. If you do want to define any properties or any of the colors with respect to the partition, you can select over here, and I'm choosing the color and I want the size of the partition to be 10 pixels and click on OK. See that the partition has been created, saying that it is of 10 pixels and the color is yellow. And if you do want to define the body color of your letter header, you can define over that. Just click on the 8 body color, and what is the color that you want to give. I want to go for a cream color and click on OK. So this is the body color of your email header. And if you do want to specify in the middle line, the partition between the body and the footer, you can specify over here and click on I want to give the color as yellow again, and I want to specify the size as 10 pixel and click on OK. Automatically a 10 pixel partition line has been created between the body and the footer. And if you do want to specify any properties with respect to the giving a logo or giving a signature over here, you have to add your image file in your static resources or in the documents, then only you can be able to select. And if you do want to specify any editable properties similar to the what we have done in the header part, we can also do it in our footer part also. And this is with respect to the bottom line. If you do want to define your bottom line, you can also define the color and pixel length in your bottom line and click on I want to give here the 15 pixels and click on OK. So you can see the difference how it is generating for the 10 pixel and the 15 pixel. And this is with respect to our classic letterhead creation, HTML letterhead creation, and click on save. So once you have created your letterhead, this is how your letterhead will appear will appear to for a preview. And this is the letterhead which we have created. And let's go back and create a classic email template by using the HTML. So go back to the classic email templates and click on the new template. I want to create a new template saying that, and the type of the email template that I'm using right now is a HTML template, and click on next. And available for use. And what is the name of the email template? I want to give it HTML letterhead for use. And choose your classic letterhead. Letterhead is a mandatory field in order to create a HTML email template. So first create your letterheader in the classic letterhead, then come to your email template and create your HTML email template. So choose your letterheader. I want to choose the HTML letterheader that I have created previously with giving it certain styling over there, and choose your layout. What is this layout? If you click on the preview over here beside to the layout, you can see the different patterns that are available to send your letter. If you do want to go for a free form letter, the free form letter is just like a page. And if you do want to give any style, if you do want any stylings for your uh, letter, you can go with the formal letter or you can go for the promotional. These are the different types of the formats that are available while choosing your email layout. Let's go with the freeform. Let's go with the normal page right for now. And if you do want to add any subject, you can add your subject over here and click on next. Once if you click on the next, automatically the uh, uh, email letter header which you have created in the classic letter header will be automatically available for you. And in the body, you have to specify what is the content that you want to send. I want to send dear customer. So I want to add some stylings to this with respect to the what we have created in our custom email template. If you do want to add some styling, select the text that you want, and you can go with the selecting the styles as we are doing in our Excel sheet or in our MS Word document. If you click on the bold, the letters will become the bold, and you can define the italic style over here, and you can also define an underline, and you can also change the font size font size as Arial, and 14 pixel. This is how we can actually give a proper styling with respect to the classic email templates in the HTML format of email templates. And I don't want an underline over here. Similarly define your message. And let's go back to the normal size as 10 pixel. And okay, okay. Dear customer, I want to give my dear customer your details have been successfully successfully saved have been successfully saved in our organization with the following the following details. You So whenever we are creating a text format of classic email template, or whenever we are creating an custom email template, and whenever we are creating an HTML format of email template, we have a function called as merge fields. So what did this merge fields will actually do is, it will automatically get the data from your record, and it will automatically assign to your body of your email template. So suppose consider that I want to send an email to the person for whom the record has been created. Suppose let's say that in a loan management application, customer is being created. I want to send a email template to a customer saying that, sir, your details are, your first name is so and so, your last name is so and so, your email is so and so, your phone number is so and so. I want to automatically dynamically render the data from my record into the my email template body. So if you do want to render your data from your record into your email body, we have a concept called as merge fields. So what is this merge fields will actually do is, it will get the data from your record, and it will automatically assign it to your email template. So in order to assign your details, we have a syntax for this. uh, Suppose if you do want to add a customer name in your email body, click on choose the object on which you want, choose the object, and select the fields. In these fields, I am going with the customer name. So what it is doing is, it is giving a syntactical format of creating your merge fields. So whenever you copy and paste your data over here, whenever you are creating a record, and whenever you are sending an email, automatically the record name of the customer will be automatically populated here. So this is with respect to the merge fields functionality. Similarly, I want to save the details like customer name and email, and right now choose your email field, email email id, and just copy the syntax that it is giving to you. And similarly, I do want to send the phone number. Phone number. Choose your phone number. Phone number. So what it will do actually is it provide you a syntax so that whenever you are sending a email to the following customer, automatically the record data will be automatically be populated over here. And I want to say that end of the regards. So this is how we create our HTML format of email templates, and click on save. So click on next. Whenever we click on the next, and if you do want to give any plain text bodies, you can also give, or you can avoid it. And so this is the preview of how your email template will be forwarded to a customer. So whenever you are forwarding, automatically the record values, the record field values will be automatically be populated over here. And click on. So we have created all our email templates. So now let's go to the concept of creating a workflows in our organization. See, as I said earlier, workflows is a process of automating your business requirement. Suppose whenever a record is created, I want to send an email message to a customer. So in that case, you need an automated action to actually perform. You don't want them to be manually doing. You don't want to collect the details from the details like email ID from the customer record, and you want to send an email manually. You want to automatically you want the Salesforce to automatically send an email to the customer whenever a customer record is created. In order to do that, we have an automated functionality called as workflows. So what the workflows will do, it will automate all your business requirement. And in the workflows, we have four different kinds of actions in the workflows. Okay, so we have four different types of actions in workflows. So what are those actions? So one action is with respect to the creating a task. Sorry, we have certain four different types of actions in workflows. One is with respect to the create. If you do want to create a task, and if you want to assign the for a user, you can create a task by using the workflow automatically. And if you do want to create send an email alert, you can send an email alert by using the workflows. And if you do want any field update, if you automatically want to update a field in your record, you can do it by using the field update. And one more action we are having called as outbound message. So we will discuss about all these actions in the sales in the workflows one by one. So let's go to the workflow rules and see what is the standard application which is available in the workflows, and how we can create the task, and how we can actually send the task to a specific user. So let's go back to the to our login page, to our organization. So this is our organization. If you do want to navigate to the navigate to workflows, to create a workflows, just click on setup. In the setup, we have platform tools. In the platform tools, we have process automation. In the process automation, we have an option called as workflow rules. Click on the workflow rules. So we are on the workflow rule page. If you do want to create a workflow, click on new rule. So whenever you want to create a new workflow rule, click on new rule and specify the object on which you want to create this workflow rules. Workflow rules are object specific. That is, if you define a workflow rule on an object, the rule will be automatically fired on that object only. It will not fire on the other objects. So workflow rules are object specific. So choose your object. What is the object that you want to choose for. I'm choosing the customer object. On this object I want to perform fire my workflow rule, and click on next, and choose your rule name. The rule name is create a task. Create a task. Create a task. This is my rule name, and when I want to create a task, we are having a condition called as evaluation criteria. Evaluation criteria, what it exactly do is, on what conditions I want to send this I want to perform this workflow. So when you have a three different evaluation rules saying that created and every time edited, and created and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet the criteria. So whenever you are creating a record, if you want to perform any automation actions like sending an email, or creating a task, or creating an outbound messages, or making a field update, if on which criteria you want to create, whenever a record is created, I want to do a specific operation, you can choose the operation, you can enable the created. Or if you do want to uh, make the your workflow rule fire whenever a record is created, at the same time whenever a record is edited. If the values in the record are edited also, if I do want to perform any specific action, you can choose the option as created and every time it's edited. This is called as evaluation criteria. Evaluation criteria basically checks when the rule should fire. So this is with respect to the evaluation criteria, and we have one more criteria called as rule criteria. This rule criteria will define on which record this action should actually perform. So whenever you are creating the record, I am giving a specific criteria saying that the rule should fire only when the customer active status is equal to true. So whenever you are creating a record with the active status of a customer record as true, only then this workflow rule will fire. So you are giving a rule criteria saying that when should this rule should fire, whenever the customer active status is equal to true, only then this rule should fire. And we have given one more criteria called as evaluation criteria. What this evaluation criteria says, whenever the record is created, if you want to fire, create enable the option called as created. Or whenever a record is created or it is edited, in that criteria you can select the option called as created and every time edited. And what is the rule criteria, it is defining you on which records it should fire. So in the record, if the customer active status is equal to true, only then I want to create an action, only then I want to fire the workflow rule. So this is with respect to the customer active status, and click on save and next. So we have defined our workflow rule criteria. And so this is with respect to the action page, and here you have to define your action. So I want to define an action of sending an email. Whenever a record is created, I want to send a message to the customer saying that your record has been created in our organization with the specific details. Similarly, what the email template we have created in our classic email templates. And if you do want to send an email to a customer, the action should be email alert. Click on new email alert, and define your description. Customer intimation. So customer intimation, and this is your unique name, and choose your email template. Email templates are specific, are something like which we have created previously to intimate a specific template for your user. I am choosing the customer record created email template. And to whom you want to send this email to the account team person, or the case team person, or the whoever created this record you want to send to that person. Or you can choose the email field in this customer record. In the customer record we are having a field called as email field. If you choose this email field, so whatever the email id which is given in this email field, the email will be sent it to the email id. So click on email field. and add this email field over here. And we do have other options, like if you do want to send an email to the owner of the record, you can choose the owner. Or if you do want to send for a public groups or a related contacts, like accounts and contacts are related to each other, right? If you do want to send for a related contact, you can send for a related contact. Or if you do want to send for a related user is a user which is there in your account record, saying that he is your business functional manager or your business functional zonal manager. And if you do want to send an email to any of your role in your organization, you can select over the roles, and you can select over the roles and subordinates. If you do want to select over the users in your organization, you can select over the users also. Just click on the required field which you want and select and add them as a recipients in the selected recipient field. And if you do want to send a BCC copy to the other users also, you can specify up to 5 email IDs over here. So this is with respect to the two email address, and this is with respect to the BCC address. BCC address, what it will do, you can add up to 5 email address, you can add them as a attachments. So this is with respect to the additional mails. And click on save. Once if you click on the save, so this is our workflow criteria. When the workflow will fire, when the active equals to true, whenever a customer record is created with active checkbox as true, active checkbox is enabled, this rule will fire. And this is the action that I want to perform. I want to send a email to the customer. So this is with respect to the email workflow definition. And click on done and activate your workflow rule. Activate, click on activate. Since whenever you click on activate, automatically the workflow will be activated. So we have created a workflow rule and we have activated our workflow rule. And let's go back to our loan management application and create a new record saying the active status as true. So let's go back to our organization, and this is our loan management application, and click on the customer tab. And right now I'm creating a new record, and the new record says customer last name is Indra Swami, and the last name is Durga, and the date of, choose any random date of birth as 4 and 1992. Email ID Indra 354 at the rate of gmail.com. Okay, I'm choosing the active status as true and click on save. So we have created a record in our Salesforce with the active status is equal to true, and we have given an email address over here. And we have defined an automate workflow action saying that whenever a record is created with the customer active status is true, which means the checkbox is enabled, send an email to this email ID. So let's go to this email ID and check whether we have received the appropriate mail or not. Let's go back to the references and click on inbox, and we haven't received the mail yet. See, we have received a mail from the Salesforce organization, and click on the mail and let's see what is there in the mail. And this is our mail. Hi sir, thank you for joining in our organization. Your address and name, other details has been successfully saved in our team. So this is how we do an automated action for sending an email by using the workflows. Similarly, if I do want to create a task in the workflows, then how can I create a task in the workflows? Let's go back to our organization, and this is go to the setup. In the process automation, we have workflow rules. Click on workflow rules. Now I want to create a workflow rules to create a task. So I want to create a new rule, right? So let's deactivate the previous workflow so that it will not disturb my functionality. Okay, deactivate. So there are no active workflow rules in our organization. So whichever the rule we are creating and whichever the rule we are acting on a specific criteria, it will be automatically be assigned. And similarly, I do want to go for choose the object on which you want to perform this workflow rule. I'm selecting my customer object and click on next and choose the rule name as creating a task. Creating a task with workflow. Okay, this is the rule name that I am giving for my workflow rule. And when I want to fire this workflow rule, whenever a record is created, and what is the entry criteria condition, I am giving the entry criteria condition saying that uh, customer rating with respect to the, okay, annual revenue. Let's say that whenever a record is created with an annual revenue equals to 5,000, I want to create a task for a user saying that you have to log in for a call to the specified record customer to and get the appropriate details. So right now I want to create a task and click on save and next. And choose your workflow action. If you do want to create an immediate action, click on add workflow actions and click on new task. So whom you want to assign this task for, click on the lookup and I want to assign this task to Sirisha. And what is the subject of the task, and log a call is my is the subject, so that she can understood I should log in with a call with this customer and get the appropriate details. And what is the due date, so I want to specify my due date with respect to the fields, system defined fields, and as well as the custom fields which I have defined. And I want to actually give the due date when the rule is triggered. So when the workflow is fired, from that point of the time to the specific point of the time, like I want to give the deadline date as 2 days. From the point where the workflow has fired, from that point to the 2 days, I want to give her a time period of 2 days, so that within these 2 days she can talk to the client and get the appropriate details. And click on status in process and choose your priority as high, and click on save. So once we have created our workflow rules, workflow action, here the workflow action is available to you, and click on done and activate your workflow process. Click on activate. So your workflow process has been activated. And this is with respect to the task creation, right? So let's go back to our loan management application and create a new customer record saying this. uh, let's create a new customer record. The customer name is Kiran G, and her name is M, and date of birth is choose some date of birth. Okay, and I want to give her as an active status. And when will the workflow will fire, whenever the annual amount is equals to 5,000, only then the rule of creating a task will fire. So this is with respect to the annual amount I have specified, and these are the basic details that I have provided. And click on save. So a record is created in your Salesforce loan management application in the customer object. When the loan record is or created with the given condition, automatically the task has been created by the workflow. Workflow automatically create a task, and whom this task is assigned to. I have created a task called as log a call, and the task has been assigned to Sirisha G has an upcoming event. And if you go and check into the Sirisha organization, she will find a task in her regular home tab saying that this is the task which has been assigned to you to complete it in the 2 days. So the task has been created for Sirisha. So let's log in into Sirisha and see whether the task has been uh, assigned to her or not. Just go to the users, click on login, and so this is my home tab, and this is with respect to the task. And okay, my tasks. So this is the task which we have created for this user Sirisha. So assigned to user Sirisha C, the subject is log a call with the customer and who is your related customer. If you do click on this link over here like customer 00227, it will be automatically redirecting you to the customer record. So the customer record has been created and it was assigned me with a task to log a call, and the name of the customer is Kiran Mai, and actually the annual revenue is 5000, so that I should get the details from the corresponding person. So if you do want to create a task automatically in the Salesforce, we have an option called as new task in the workflow actions. So this is with respect to the task creation, and let's log out from the Sirisha profile and create a field update action. So if you do want to create a field update action, field update is something like whenever a record is created, if you do want to update a field with a specific name or with a specific text or specific specific user defined data, then you can update the field. So let's go back to our workflows again, and this is our workflow, right? Click on the workflow rules, and I want to create a new workflow rule. Let's deactivate the previous one so that it will not disturb my existing functionality, and click on new rule, and choose your object on which object you want to create this workflow rule, and click choose your object and click on next, and define what is your rule name. Creating, sorry, field update on customer record, and I want to fire this workflow rule whenever a record is created, and go with when the rule is will be fired whenever the annual revenue is greater than or equal to 5000. So a field update action will be automatically be performed whenever you create a customer record with the annual revenue currency field greater than 5000 amount. Automatically this action will be performed, and click on save and next, and click on the workflow action, and this time take a field update and choose the field update name, field update cust. I'm taking a random name, and choose on which field you want to update. I want to update the field called as uh, okay, street name, states, okay, customer type. I want to update the field called as customer type. So if the annual revenue is or greater than 5000, I want to update the field called as customer type with a specific value, and choose your, since the customer type is a pick list, so all the pick list values will be automatically will be populated over here, and I want to update the field as corporate, and click on save. So once we have created our workflow action to update the field of customer type, click on done and activate your workflow rule. Click on activate, and let's go back to our customer loan management application and create a record. with the annual revenue greater than 5,000. Click on the customer tab and click on new. Since I want to create a record, so define the first name of your customer, so month, and choose the date of birth, anything of your choice. And choose your date of birth with any of your choice and make it as active, and choose your annual revenue as 6,000, which is greater than 5,000, right? And click on save. Once if you click on the save, automatically the action of updating a field will be performed. You can see that the customer type is automatically updated. Whenever we have created a record, we haven't specified the pick list of a customer type, what the customer type field should be. But since we have defined a workflow rule to update my fields in my customer record, when the annual amount is greater than 5,000, it is automatically updating the customer type field as corporate. So this is respect to the workflows of creating a task, sending an email, and field update. And we have one more action in the Salesforce called as outbound messages. uh, so guys, actually the problem is I cannot show you how an outbound message is created in the Salesforce, because whenever we want to create a field action called as outbound messages, we should have a live live third party system, and we should also have a web URL. So let me discuss in detail what is this outbound message action in workflow. So whenever you want to send the data from your Salesforce application to the third party applications, let's say whenever a record has been created in my organization, in the Salesforce organization, I want to intimate my third party system like the SAP system or a .NET system or an Oracle system. In that scenario, I need to send an outbound messages to the third party system. In order to do that, we will be using the concept of outbound messages action in workflows. So in order so consider that this is our Salesforce system and this is our SAP system. So this is a SAP system, SAP system, and similarly we are having one. This is our SFD Salesforce system. In this we are having a customer object. So whenever I want to send the details, whenever a customer record is created in my organization automatically to the SAP system, I can do it by using the outbound messages. But in order to send the details from your local Salesforce organization to the SAP system, we need a program with respect called as web service URL. We need a program called as web service. So you should ask the SAP developers to provide you with the web service program in in their system, and provide you with an URL to actually send the data from your SFDC system to the third party system, which can be done by the outbound messages. So whenever you come across the requirement of sending an outbound messages to third party system, you should be asking for a prerequisites like give me the URL and create a web service in the third party application, and give me the URL, so that whenever you are making a call to that URL, the web service program will be automatically be called, and what are the data you are sending from your Salesforce system to the third party system, it will cache the data, and it will create or it will save in the SAP system. So this is with respect to create sending in outbound messages in workflows. And let's go back to our organization and create a workflow rule with respect to sending an outbound messages. So this is our workflow rule. Click on workflow rules and click on new rule. I want to create a new rule for an customer object to send the data from your Salesforce system to the third party system. Select specify your object and give your rule name outbound. And whenever a record is created, I want to send the data from my local Salesforce system to the third party system. Either it can be a SAP system or an Oracle system or a .NET system, and click on save and next. So we haven't specified the rule criteria. Whenever the customer status active equals to true, so whenever a customer record is created with a status active is equal to true, I want to create an action called as outbound messages and click on save and next. It is showing me an error, invalid will be all the rule. Okay, since we have created one rule name called as outbound, it is giving us an error messages with the same name. You cannot create another workflow action. Click on the new outbound messages and define your name of your outbound messages, SAP system, and this is the end. You should I said you that you should ask for an URL, right, to whatever the URL the third party system is providing to you. Enter the detailed URL over here in your endpoint URL, so that you are calling the endpoint system to actually receive the data from your Salesforce system. And what are the fields that you want to submit to the third party system. And whenever you are submitting the fields, uh, make sure address them. The same fields with the same data type should be available in your organization. If they are not available, saving the data in their system will become very difficult. And this is with respect to create, and click on save and activate your process. So we have created one of our workflow action called as outbound messages, and click on done and activate your process. So since this is not a live system and this is not a proper URL, so I have just created a dummy workflow rule to actually show you the steps, rule steps with respect to the outbound messages. And let me deactivate all my previous workflow rules so that it will not uh, disturb my rest of the other functionalities. And this is how we have created workflow rules with respect to the creating a task, sending an email, and making a field update and an outbound messages. And similarly, we have some entry criteria, right, in our organization, saying that we have some entry criteria saying that whenever a record is created, and we have a second criteria is whenever record is created, anytime edited, and we have a third criteria saying that created and every time edited to subsequently meet the criteria. So these are the three different entry criteria that are available in my workflow rules. So let us discuss. We have seen the concept of created. Whenever a record is created, automatically the workflow rule action will fire. And let's see the criteria of created and anytime edited. Let's go back to our workflow rule and let me create a workflow rule saying that every time it is created. So go to the account record. Sorry, I want to go for the customer record and click on next. The same steps with respect to the created in the created and every time also, every time I edited also, those are the same step, but the difference is you have to choose the option called as created and every time it's edited. So whenever a record is created or whenever the record is edited, it will automatically fire the workflow action, and I want to give the name is anytime edited. So this is my rule criteria, and so my evaluation criteria becomes created and every time it's edited. And what is the rule I want to take? Whenever the annual revenue is equals to 5000, I want to perform an whenever a record is created with an annual revenue equals to 5000, automatically this workflow rule will fire. And even if it at any point of the time, if this record is edited, then also the workflow rule will be fired. Like the rule itself says the evaluation, sorry, the evaluation criteria itself says that created and every time it's edited. Whenever you create a record, it will fire, and whenever you edit the record, then also it will fire. Edit in the sense means if you update the record, it will automatically fire the action. So the rule will fire whenever the annual revenue equals to 5000, and click on save and next, and choose your action. I want to send an email alert saying that send me an email alert, customer pod with second workflow and evaluation criteria. Evaluation criteria. This is the name of the email letter I have given, and choose your template. Here I want to choose my template as uh, we have HTML letterhead for use. Okay, choose the letterhead, and to whom you want to submit this email to. I want to submit to the to whatever the email ID specify in my customer record, and add this email ID and click on save. So create the action. So we have created the action, right? And click on done, and activate your workflow rule. Okay, so the workflow rule has been activated, and let's go back to our loan management application. Click on customer tabs and create a new record with the annual revenue equal to 5000. Okay, click on the new and give the last name as and define your date of birth, because date of birth is a required field, right? Date of birth, first name and last name are the required field. Without this actually I cannot save a record. That is why I'm giving the details like last name and date of birth, and give the annual amount as 5000 and click on save. Sorry, I haven't specified the record email ID, right? So it will not send a email to me. Let's create another record specifying our email ID. So the record name is Karthik NG, and date of birth is something like 25 second dash. Okay, make it as an active and choose the amount field as 5000 and specify the email ID to whom you want to send the email to. Fanindra 3. Okay, and click on save. Whenever you create a record, okay, it is asking me as okay, I gave an invalid date of birth, which is why it is throwing me with an error messages, and click on save. So the record has been created with a with in the customer object with the name called as Karthik and with the email ID as so and so, and the annual revenue is 5000. Since we have created a workflow, with the evaluation criteria as created, and every time it's created, to automatically perform the action, the email should be sent to this email ID, right? Let's go back to the email ID and check whether we have received the email or not. So we have received the email from our Salesforce. Check the so this is our email record which we have created. So guys, previously I used to say something like merge fields, right? So in the merge field concept, we have defined our expression over here. Customer name is equal to so and so expression, which we have which we have copy pasted from our merge fields, right? So whenever we are sending a customer record, automatically, dynamically, the values will be automatically assigned to your email. So this is how the HTML and the merge field concepts in the Salesforce will work. So since we have receiving an email, what if I do any more update? So if I click on edit and update some of the fields, and I want to update my country as America and state as so and so hemisphere, and click on save. Even if I update the record also, automatically the email will be sent to me by the workflow, and click on the inbox, and you can see that I have received a new email. So this is click on this. Okay, this is the new email which I have received from the Salesforce, and this is the previous one. Okay, whenever you are updating a record, it will automatically send you an email. So let's update the record from America to India and click on save. Whenever you are updating the record, automatically a email will be sent to you again and again. See, we have received another email. So this is with respect to firing and workflow whenever a record is created or whenever a record is updated. So this is how we are able to receive our email messages. So since we have updated since we have created the record, we have received our first email at 10:45 p.m. and after that we have updated our customer record, so that another email has been sent to us by the workflow at 10:46, and we have updated our customer record again at 10:47. So the Salesforce has sent us with another email messages at 10:47. This is how the evaluation criteria of created and every time works. This is the same with respect to the either the task or with the field update or with the outbound messages also. Similarly, the action will be performed in the same manner, in the repeated manner. So let's discuss about the third criteria in our workflow rules. So we have a criteria called as created, and every time it's iterated to subsequently meet the criteria. So what does it exactly do in the Salesforce is, I have let me take an example over here to explain. So we are creating a customer record, specifying the rule criteria. We have given a condition like annual amount is greater than or equals 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 to equals to 7,000. So we are creating a workflow rule, choosing the third criteria. Once we have selected our related object on which this rule will fire, and if we define our rule name, and the third thing which we will define is our rule criteria. The rule criteria now is created and every time iterated to subsequently meet the criteria. We have another criteria as created and created anytime edited also, but we are having the third criteria as created and every time edited. This is my evaluation criteria, and in the rule criteria I'm taking my rule as whenever a customer record is created with the annual amount is greater than or equals to 7,000, this rule should fire. So how this evaluation criteria will work: whenever you create a record, suppose I created a CST record 0032. I created the record with the annual annual amount as 8,000, as 8,000. So since the condition says what, whenever a record is created with the annual amount field greater than 7,000, it should fire. So the first thing is it will fire. So the second criteria what it says, and every time it's edited. So whenever you are editing this record, whenever you're making an update or whenever you're editing this record, the specific action should perform, like the action which we have the evaluation criteria which we have chosen for created and anytime edited, it should fire as the same, but it will not fire since the criteria is given as every time it's edited. Why? Because it is having an extension called as subsequently meet the criteria. So what will exactly do is, if you do modify the record saying that if the amount field, I have increased the amount field to 9,000, 9,000, it will not fire since the criteria is created and every time it's edited, it will not fire. And if you do update your field amount to 10,000, it will not also fire. So since we are updating this amount from 8,000 to 9,000 and 9,000 to 10,000 also, it will not fire. But the rule, what the rule says, the rule says the amount is greater than 7,000, it should fire. But since we are updating the amount field greater than 7,000, also it will not fire. So when this rule will fire again, whenever you are making the amount less than the specified amount. The 7,000 is the amount limit, right? Where the workflow rule will fire. If I am reducing the amount less than 7,000, suppose if I updated my record with the annual amount is as 6,000, then what will happen? Then the rule will get ready to fire. It will not fire. Will get ready the fire. So when it will be fire? Whenever the record is further updated to an amount more than 7,000, more than 7,000, more than 7,000, the rule will fire. So this is with respect to the third evaluation criteria, and this is our rule. The evaluation criteria says created and every time it's edited to subsequently meet the requirement, but the rule says created and every time it's edited. So whenever you edit the record, it should fire, but the rule evaluation criteria also says that subsequently meet the criteria. So whenever a record will unmeet the criteria and it again meet the criteria, then only it will fail. Similar to this example which we have taken over here. Suppose if we enter the annual revenue as 8,000, what it will do? A record is created with the annual amount as 8,000. The rule criteria is satisfied and it will fire the workflow rule. And whenever you update the rule criteria more with the more amount than the specified amount than the 7,000, the workflow will not fire. And whenever you update the record with an amount less than the rule criteria amount, less than the 7,000, it will get ready to fire. So when it will get ready to fire, whenever the amount has been changed to 7,000 or more than 7,000. Similarly, the case also follows with the less case also. Similarly, you can ask, sir, what if the amount has been reduced from 6,000 to 4,000? The rule will not fire at the 4,000. But whenever you are editing the record, editing the value in the annual amount from 4,000 to 7,500, then the rule will fire. Similarly, let's check it. Let's go into the organization and see in a detailed view how we can create this workflow rule. Go to your workflow rules and deactivate your previous workflow rule so that it will not disturb my existing functionality, and click on workflow rules. And this is with respect to the click on new rule. I want to create a new workflow rule in my organization. Choose your customer object or any other object that you want to choose and click on next, and specify your rule criteria as third evaluation criteria. Third evaluation criteria. So this is my rule name, and I'm going with the third option called as created and anytime it's edited so subsequently meet the criteria. Here I'm choosing the my record criteria as whenever annual revenue greater than or equal to 7,000, then only this rule should fire. And click on save and next. And define your workflow action. I want to fire a workflow action similarly with respect to the email alert. Let's take the email alert also. Email alert only. And choose the email description. Third criteria evaluation. Okay. Okay, choose your email template. Since we have defined our templates, right? I'm going with HTML letterhead for use, and whom you want to send this email to the in the customer record, to whom whatever the email field, the email ID you have specified in your email field, I want to send it for that email field, and click on save and create the workflow actions. And so you have created your workflow action, right? So click on done and activate your record. So this is how. And let's go back to our application and go to our customer. Click on your customer tab and create a new record. Click on new to create a record and specify this as for us. For us. Okay, and date of birth is something as random, and specify the annual revenue as 7,000. Only when a record is created with the annual revenue as 7,000 only it will fire. Okay, click on save. Oh, sorry guys, I haven't specified the email ID over here. I have to specify the email ID. So go back and create a new custom record specifying your email ID, and for us, and the date of birth should be choose something as random, and email field as Fanintra 354 at the rate of gmail.com, and choose the amount annual revenue as 7,000. Click on save. So as per my workflow rule, I should receive an email to this email ID, right? So let's go back to the email and check whether the email has been received or not. Click on index, refresh. Okay. So what is the rule criteria that we have specified? Let's go and check. Greater than or equal to 7,000, and we have specified the amount as 7,000, and the email ID is right. Sorry, the email ID is wrong. Go back to our customer object and create a new record. Sorry. And shake and choose the date of birth as third, and specify the annual revenue as 7,000, and okay, click on save. So go back to your Gmail and check whether the email has been received or not. Click on inbox, so you can see that a new email has been received. So if you check this, you can see this for us, Sheikh for us, and this is the email ID. So right now we haven't defined our phone number, right? Let's edit the record and give our phone number. So go to the record and click on save and save. So I have specified my phone number, and the annual revenue amount I'm leaving it as 7,000 only, 7,000 only, and let's save the record. The rule criteria says what created and every time iterates it, but the criteria is satisfying. Like 7,000, the annual revenue is 7,000. Okay, the criteria is satisfying, but and at the same time I'm also updating a field. Let me check out whether I'm able to receive the message or not. I'm not able to receive any message. And similarly, if I go for a multiple updates also, I will update this same field to 8000 this time and click on save. Since we have increased the amount from 7000 to 8000, but the rule criteria says as greater than or equal to, since there is no email ID. Now let's make the amount as 4000 and click on save. Then also the rule will not fire. You can see I am not receiving any email from the person. But if I update the field again to the amount greater than 7000 and click on save, the rule will fire. Now let's go back to your email and check. Now you can receive your email. So if you do want to perform any operations on a alternative level or on a subsequently means alternatively, whenever the condition is met, it is not met, and again the condition is met, if you do want to perform any operations with any action with respect to this, you can go with respect to created and every time it's iterated to subsequently meet the requirement. Since we have defined our phone number over the new record, over the updated record, right? So it is giving me a dynamic email messages taking all the data from the customer record. So this is how we can actually merge the fields in our email letters, and as well as we can define our colors and styling and everything also. So this is with respect to the workflow rules with the three evaluation criteria. These are all the three evaluation criteria in our workflow rules. And we have one more workflow action called as time dependent workflow action. We have two types of workflow actions. One is immediate action and other one is a time based action. Time based action means if you do want to perform an action with respect to a time frame, like today at 6 p.m. I have created a record, but my office timings are from 9 to 5. So whenever I created a record at 6 p.m., I cannot assign a task to a user. The office timings are from 9 to 5. In that case, I need to choose the next day, and I need to specify the time to create a task. So that in that scenario, you should go for a time-based workflow rules. Time-based workflow rules are not an immediate action. They are not performed immediately. They will be performed on a specified time that you have defined. Similarly, if I am creating a record at 6 p.m. and said that this action should fire, this workflow rule should fire on tomorrow morning, then the workflow rule will fire on the tomorrow morning only. It will not fire immediately. Whereas right now, all the actions which are performed are with respect to the immediate actions. Whenever you create a record, or whenever you create and edit a record, or whenever you create and subsequently edit a record, all these actions will be automatically be performed. But whereas the time triggered actions will perform on a specific time, on a specific time that you have defined. So let's create a workflow rule with respect to the specific time and see how it works. And let's deactivate my process, deactivate my workflow rule, and go back to your workflow rules and create a workflow rule again. And I want to name this workflow rule on the customer object and enter and click on next and choose your rule name as time based action. And I want to you can choose any criteria over here except the created and every time excited. For a time dependent workflow action, created and every time will not work. So so whenever you choose the created and every time, it will automatically pop up a info message saying that you cannot add time dependent workflow actions with this option. For an option of evaluation criteria created and every time it's edited, you cannot take created and every time edited. For a time dependent action, you cannot create an action for with respect to the time frame with a specified time on this evaluation criteria of created and every time it's edited. You can either choose the created or created and anytime it's edited subsequently meet the criteria. You can choose anything over the first and the third. You cannot choose the third. If you want to create a time-based trigger action. And when this action should perform, whenever the active status equals to true, only then the action should fire. And click on next. And under these immediate actions, we have something called as time-dependent workflow actions. First, choose your time trigger. When you want to perform this action, I want to perform this action one day after the record has been created. So created date is a standard field. We are taking the created date standard field as a reference. So this action should perform after one day. This workflow should fire after one day after the record is created. So click on save. And it will ask me with a couple of steps again. And now since you have created your time frame, right? And when the workflow rule should fire, right? So create your action. What is the action that you want to perform? I want to create a task to a specific user, saying that this task is assigned to you. You have to meet your customer, meet the client, and get all the necessary details. And assign to is the person, right, to whom you want to assign this task to. I want to assign this to Raghaji, and the subject of the task is for example 2, and I want to choose a unique name. And what is the time frame that you want to give for this task? What is the end time that you want to give them? Whenever the rule fires, whenever this rule will fire, from that point to the next 2 days, I want to give this person with a time gap so that he can complete the action, complete my task. And you can choose your priority and status also, and click on save. And click on done and activate your process. So whenever a record is created with active equals to true, a action will be performed after one day whenever you create a record. So this is with respect to the workflow actions of immediate and time based. So these are the workflow rules that we have in our organization, and these are the specific criteria on how these workflow rules will fire. And we have some limitations also with respect to the workflows. In workflows, you can create on a workflow, per a workflow. So for a single workflow, you can create up to 40 actions. And in that 40 actions, the Salesforce has segregated this 40 actions, says that you can create only 10 tasks, 10 email alerts, and 10 field updates. Okay, field updates. And you can create 10 outbound messages. So for a workflow, you can define up to 40 actions, but in the 40 actions are segregated to, like, you can create only 10 tasks. For a workflow rule, you can create only 10 email letters, you can create only 10 field updates, you can create up to 10 outbound messages. All together, the sum of these four actions together make the count as 40. So this is how the workflow rules will fire. And you cannot create a time based workflow for the criteria of created and every time it's edited. And the workflow rules can update the parent records also. In the concept of field update, you are updating the own record, right? In the workflows, you can update your parent record also. Suppose that customer and loan are in parent and child relation. If you are writing a workflow on the loan record, the uh, the customer record can also be updated from the loan record itself also. As I said, that the workflow rules are object specific. On whichever the object you have specified your workflow, only on that object the workflow will fire. Similarly, on the loan object, the workflow has fired. So the workflow has a criteria. It can update its customer record, but it can update its own record, but it cannot update its child records. The workflow rule will work from child to parent, but not from parent to child. So this is all with respect to the workflow rules. Thank you for your